Feel mentally stuck on dating and want to know how to deal with your emotional baggage? Need a supercharged pep talk in order to drop that bag and become totally free of that past? I'm about to deliver that and more right now. Hey everyone, I'm dating and relationship coach Ryan Patrick. So today's video is going to be one of those psychological deep dives, but it's also going to serve more of a motivational purpose. So if any of you have felt like you've just been carrying around a heavy bag of crap for weeks, months, or even years, and you're just ready to drop that bag and leave it behind you, this video is for you. First, I'm going to touch on why this emotional baggage exists. Next, we're going to discuss how you've been treating yourself and how that may have led to a bogged down dating life or even marriage. Finally, we're going to explore 5 different action steps you can take to actively remove this baggage from your life so you no longer have to carry around this corrosive crap anymore. Sound good? Now, how did this baggage get there in the first place? Well, this emotional baggage is created when we try to move on from a traumatic event without fully healing from it first. Now, there are many reasons why a person would choose to do this. The biggest reason is it's just easier to deal with it that way, to push it aside and not worry about it. So what do? We just don't deal with it. Now, we are all guilty of this, men and women. We'll stuff it deep down in there, we'll put on a happy face, and we'll move on. Another common reason is that we just miscalculate how much damage this event is actually doing to us. For example, a man pops into your life. He woos you over. He gains your trust. He even becomes intimate with you. And then he leaves you high and dry without an explanation. Now, maybe the timeline of the events only took place over the course of a month, a relatively short period of time, right? So you go on as if nothing happened and it didn't affect you. But here's the thing, it did affect you. And now you might be left wondering why you find it difficult to even look at a man when you can sense you're becoming intimate with him. Now, if you had treated that previous situation differently with the other guy who completely walked out on you, if you had just acknowledged it and you had mourned the event, you may, and I do say may, have found that you found it a lot easier with the next guy when you became intimate with him and you didn't have that baggage, you didn't sense that heaviness that you carried into this new situation. But because you ignored that previous event, a peculiar transaction took place. And in a sense, a new rule was created with how you're gonna treat yourself. That you'd be willing to accept that previous behavior from that other guy as something that just happens to me. It was just your own subconscious mind's way of dealing with it and minimizing the pain from it. I want you to remember that our subconscious mind has 2 directives in life: the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. So now the event, him leaving you without any explanation or closure, and the new rule that you've created with it, which is this is okay, this is something I'm willing to put up with, are now both calcified within you. They become hardened over time, so you can conveniently carry them around wherever you go, and it feels like a bag of rocks slung over your shoulder. So now let's talk about 5 things that we can do to kind of change our routine with future crappy events, shall we? So here are 5 things you can do right now to minimize or completely release emotional baggage you might be carrying around right now. The first thing is clearing the emotional energy. Emotional baggage can be viewed as something called trapped emotions, which exist all over our bodies. A trapped emotion is simply a grouping of energy that holds the frequency of one of our typical negative emotions, like sadness or anger. The interesting thing is that we can actually create these trapped emotions in our bodies ourselves. We can absorb them from other people, and we can also inherit them from our parents at birth. For more about this, I recommend a book called The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. This book is going to be great with helping you clear this emotional energy yourself, so I'm going to link to it in the description below. Now, this is definitely energy that needs to be cleared out of us regularly, so grab The Emotion Code to help you do so. The second thing is setting boundaries. Now, there was something that allowed you to take on this baggage in the first place, and it usually stems from having a porous or undefined boundary for yourself. In order to properly protect yourself from creating those trapped emotions, you need to set boundaries. Setting a boundary can be made verbally with another person, but it's also something that you can create with yourself and the universe with how you're going to stick up for yourself the next time someone hurts you. You simply acknowledge with yourself that the next time something messed up or unacceptable happens, that you won't ignore it and you will deal with that pain right then and there, and you won't be jumping into any other relationships until the full repercussions of that event have moved through you and beyond you. The third thing is plugging up the holes. Plugging up the holes is the process of identifying areas of your life that just leak with unwanted pain, drama, and negative outcomes unnecessarily. For example, feeling like you always attract the guys that just want you for money or sex, and then they just seemingly discard you as if you never mattered at all. Now, you can plug up that hole by bucking old trends and changing your ways. If you identify the fact that your pattern is that you date older men all the time, it's time to mix things up and start dating younger men so you can compare the experiences. By giving yourself those options that you're just not used to, the crazy thing is you start to see blind spots of where you might be letting men walk all over you, when in reality, all it took was for you to become more assertive with men, so this would no longer happen to you. The fourth thing is forgiving yourself. When we know and we're aware that we're carrying around emotional baggage, sometimes it can be as simple as just forgiving ourselves for carrying that baggage in order to let it go. Ironically, forgiving ourselves can be one of the easiest things to do because we are typically at the bottom of our lists of things to take care of. So do yourself a favor, if you haven't done this in a while, forgive yourself for not checking in with yourself. And just remember to say, hey, how you doing once in a while? Even that momentary level of awareness can be life-changing. And when you can forgive yourself, it becomes insurmountably easier to forgive others and let those old grudges go that you've been carrying around. The fifth thing is gaining momentum somewhere else. When all else is failing and you can't seem to release trapped emotions, set boundaries, plug holes, or forgive yourself, shift the focus. Sometimes gaining the smallest victories in some tiny, obscure area of your life is enough to change your entire situation. So you want to look for low-hanging fruit here. You want to look for something that you can get excited about and something that you can focus on for as little as a month. Take a photography class or try out a fad diet. When you begin to see results in another area of your life, all of a sudden, change in your love life seems more than possible. Your emotional baggage is a construct of your mind. It represents the unnecessary suffering we hoist upon ourselves when we feel responsible for a negative outcome. So the real trick in dealing with it is first acknowledging it, then taking responsibility for any different choices you'd like to make for the future, then finally dropping the bag and leaving it in your past permanently where it belongs. So for those of you readers out there, be sure to get your copy of The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. Again, I'll leave that link in the description below. Guys, if you like this video, please give it a like below, and I'll catch you all next week.